Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Purpose Pod. That was your boy DJ Davi on the ones and twos, giving us our rock for the day, man. I felt like stepping out onto the rugby field and giving it to somebody, but I'm gonna leave that for Todd, so because music can get you hype, but you might end up losing the fight. So don't show up if you ain't ready. But man, DJ Davi, thank you once again for blessing us with some great tunes as we prepare for this interview. I am so excited about our next guest, our current guest. His wife has been on our podcast twice, Maya Stolian Clever. It's been amazing having her, gratitude practitioner. And she said she's not just walking around all gratitude. If Todd doesn't wash the dishes, she lays it down. Just playing. She did not say that, Todd, but but yeah, man. So I hope that you guys are ready for this episode. I am so much ready for this episode. So let's bring on Todd Clever. All right, let's see. There we go. What's up, Todd?
Hey, how you doing? Hey, that was a good little hype, man. I saw a lot of I haven't seen in years, so I might have to look some of that good stuff.
Yeah, I saw you watching the videos. Like, oh man, that's me. So that's pretty cool, man.
Many moons ago, and many pounds, and a lot more stronger back then. But no, it was a lot of fun memories.
Yeah. Hey, look, as time progresses, a lot of us we gain some weight, but I mean, you're not doing too bad, brother. So, hold on. And I think so. Here we go.
Exactly.
There we go. Are you able to hear me right now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think we have a little delay between you and me, so we'll take that into account right here. My internet is sometimes slow, but then you're in Hawaii, so let's leave that right there. How is Hawaii going? Is it nice? Is it warm? Is it raining? What's it like?
Man, I don't want to make too many people jealous because I know a lot of people are watching this from all parts of the world. But man, my view is beautiful. I got lucky enough to supporting my wife. She's here, and I'm able to work remotely a lot of the time. So it's glorious. I woke up early this morning, went did a little run on the boardwalk, and then came back, and we set this time for a podcast many months ago, and I was looking at my calendar. I'm like, oh, should I reschedule? I was like, no, I'm a man of my word. I'll work around it and make sure I on Purpose Pod.
Yeah. I'm glad you did, man. I would have been okay, but I would have been a little hurt. Today I have a cold, so it would have been like, I'm okay. I don't have to sniffle on here, but I'm glad you showed up. It shows a lot. But I was watching one of your workouts that you have on YouTube. You were with someone and you were just taking them through like your routine workout, and I was like, man, Todd should have a fundraiser for your foundation. You should do like workout with Todd, and like people fly out to California and they just do a workout with you for the weekend or the day or whatever, and you just raise money that way. I think it would be pretty cool. I would show up.
There we go. Yeah. Well, maybe, hey, that could be something. I was blessed through all my trainers and personal trainers and medical staff to keep me healthy. I mean, having a 15-year career isn't easy in any sport, let alone rugby. So a credit to them. My workouts, still very active to this day. I mean, there's a lot less weight on those bars and more body weight stuff, but I always try to maintain that physically and mentally fit to make sure I am my best self.
Yeah, I love that, brother, because I for one have been slacking. I'm just going to be real. I paid my gym membership, Todd. I paid my gym membership and I don't show up. So what would you tell me, Todd? I'm over here. Look, I got the never stop, never quit, repeat, right? Reminded me of when you and Maya made the workout video in the gym. Thank you for that. But like, it's hard for me to go do that. I can show up on a podcast, I can motivational speak, but going to the gym, I'm slacking. Like, what advice do you have for a brother?
I mean, for myself, I'm all about goals, and it's not just setting a goal and saying I have a goal. it's about, living those goals. So, I say it, I come up with that goal. What is my goal going to be? It's going to be short term and long term. But, I always say talk is cheap. But if you're able to write it down, live by those things, put it somewhere that you see it daily, by your toothbrush, you see it a couple times, or your mirror, or by your door, or whatever else, and making sure that that there is no chance, there is no quitting, there is not stopping, I love your message that you bring out, and we love those shits, and that's the thing. It's that's my philosophy as always, and it took me to where I got, at the high performance professional international level, is making sure that I live by my goals, stand by them, and because at the end of the day, there's only one. You could lie to everybody. You could lie to your journal. You could lie to your friend. You could lie to your coach, saying I gave it all. But you can never lie to that person that's in that mirror. And that's and maybe to a fault. Maybe to a fault. I expect a lot out of others. I expect a lot out of myself. And sometimes I expect too much. I'll tell you a quick story. I remember we were in a test match. It was USA versus Italy, and we were playing, and there was an injury, and it was a hot day. It was in June, I think it was June or July, and it was hot, and it was a stoppage of time. It's like we looked, water boy was just walking, and I just came unglued. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Look at their team." Their team already has water. I was like, don't ever let that water boy beat you out. This contest. And I mean, I just expect a lot out of everybody, and again, almost to a fault, but I expect a lot of myself as well.
Yeah. I love that, man. And I'm going to keep this message dear to my heart, and I'll write something about my toothbrush, because it's really like, it's easy to like do the things that are easy for you to do, and then like those things that may take a little bit more work, like going to the gym, or not even going to the gym, because I see you like to go to the beach and work out. You hit the stairs, and then you go and pump some irons. And I also heard you say in an interview, like, it's about the small things, like it's about those small ligaments, it's about the strength in the pinky toe, and so like I think that is the way when you said that, I was like, man, he's attention to detail in his own body. And here I am saying I won't go for a walk, or I won't go for a run, even though my heart desires to do so. So thank you, Todd, for setting the example. And it really, I guess, it sets players apart as well, right? Because here you are, this high performance athlete, and then you have other people who may not put in the same kind of work. So do you see that? Do you see, like, when you show up to the game, can you tell like who hasn't put in a lot of work?
It really sticks out more first couple days after an off season. And for myself, I don't think I ever I never took an off season, because I want to get better and work on my, things that I need to work on.
Yeah.
And knowing that you have weaknesses, knowing what you can work on and get better at is a huge strength. So I had a great, staff, my, medical staff, and I was with them, throughout. So when I came and had a level of, fitness, because getting back in shape is a lot harder than staying in shape. You can work, you can take on the load, running and weightlifting, everything else. But if you stop, cold turkey, and be like, hey, I have off season, I'm, drinking Mai Tais and pina coladas and eating pizza and everything else for a few months, and I'll get fit, in a couple months. Man, that's when those training camps and fitness camps are the hardest. So I commend, it's all about knowing your body, supporting yourself, investing in yourself, and for you, it's sort of, say you pay your gym membership, man, that's a waste of money if you don't use it.
It is.
That's my whole thing, is like, if I know I'm paying money for it, it's I'm using that, and that's why I'd rather pay, my personal trainer and pay my gym membership and get it for free, because if I get it for free, all this. So investing in yourself, if that's that, physically fit, mentally fit, anything else, if you have the, I would do that.
Yeah. maybe I need to go to a gym that costs more. Like maybe I just need to spend a little bit more money, and then that would be it. But I swear, every day, I have this thing every day where I'm like, in my mind, I have this like best version of Alan that I'm gonna be, and I'm like, okay, so today I'm gonna, step outside. I'm gonna go for like a 3 mile run, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna do some push-ups, some sit-ups, and then like when the day comes, I'm like, oh, I gotta go to work. Oh, I got this to do. And like maybe it's because I'm not in my flow. Todd, you were doing something that you love to do. Do you think that could be why? Like you were in something that you love doing?
Man, I mean, I think, that is it's never a hard day's work if you're doing something that you're passionate about. And, and I say that to anybody that's, if you're passionate about, computer coding, make sure you have that, balance. Don't sit in front of a computer screen for 2 hours in a row, and you'll fry your brain, and your mental health will not be good. Same thing as if you love being, an outdoorsy person. It's like, man, take it easy. You can't be out there 14 hours a day. Your limbs are gonna fall off. So as long as you have that sort of balance to life, is massive. And like you said, if you write those goals, you're like, hey, I want to, do 3 mile run, and I want to do some push-ups. I do everything else. Write those down and have a box. Did you check the box? And if you, at the end of the day, and it's like, oh, I spent too much time on Instagram, or I work too much, you can't. You're gonna have struggles, but I promise, if you do half of that, you do 3 miles, your body feels so much better. Everything will be enlightened. It would definitely be good.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that. I'll cut it in half. I'll cut it in half. I might even cut it in like 3/4. I might just do I might just do a half a mile to start off or something. I know that once I do it, I'll like get in the flow of things. But anyway, we're not paying you to be my coach today. So we can pick that for another day, when I need to get up and get out there and run that mile. But I wanted to take a backtrack. So in the Purpose Pod, like I love just number one, engaging in conversations about your life, where you are right now, where you've been, because I hope to share that with people so that they can discover their own purpose or their own desires. I think other people's stories usually unlock something in our own lives, and where we have this courage or this power, we're empowered to go do something. So I wanted to backtrack. So did you see yourself at the age of, let's say, 12, doing what you do now? Did you see this for yourself?
I mean, I was probably like most kids of, growing up in the States. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be a professional athlete. I didn't know what sport to be. You'd be a pro. I just knew I was going to be a professional athlete. I mean, I couldn't wait to get out of school even at that age. My school was not my jam. So, I played a little baseball. It's terrible, but I was like, oh, I'm a professional baseball player. I'm just not good right now, but I'll figure it out. Soccer, okay, I could do this, travel the world, play in different leagues, and my laser focus on that was, where it was. And once I started playing rugby, it that kind of took a back on the back burner, because I started playing rugby. I didn't know that there's professional rugby. I didn't know that the rugby was in the Olympics or had a World Cup. I didn't know we had a Team USA. I thought it was all, a club sport. Travel the world, you have fun, you have this camaraderie, and finding a home and having a purpose in that, being part of rugby. After a couple of years of playing, then I got introduced to, hey, there's professional rugby, there's and that's when my eggs in one basket, when I was about 17, and being like, you know what, I went to a game. It was Australia versus South Africa, and there was about 100,000 people, in this game, and I'm like, I belong on that field. I'm gonna do everything I can, and goal, and short-term goals to get, but I end up being there, which is amazing, remarkable, and magical.
Yeah, that is like to be a guest somewhere in a place where in the future you'll soon be at the center of attention, or captain of a team. Like, I think that is a beautiful just, I guess, image of how, if you pursue your purpose and you pursue something that you say you want, like, it can be obtained. I think it's all about work ethic. Even if, like, I heard in one interview you said that it wasn't that you were like the best, the number one athlete out there, it was that you were training. Like, we were just talking about, like, your training, how you put in that work, and then you made sure that you were the most fit athlete on the field, next to the guy next to you, and I think that's powerful to take into account. So, just so right there, when you talk about the transition of saying, you know what, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket and pursue rugby, was there any doubt, or were you just full on like, this is what I'm going to do?
I mean, with being an American, and rugby is not very big in America, and my goals were so big. They were, now that I look back, it's like, what was I thinking? I was, I wasn't really thinking. I was just like, this is where I want to be. I saw my favorite players. I want to play like them, molded my game around them, saw the leagues in Southern Hemisphere. And it was just a laser focus of, you know what, I'm going to play in the Super Rugby competition. And Super Rugby is Southern Hemisphere. And then whenever I played the Super 14, it was teams from South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand, all very big rugby nations. And that's what I wanted to do. That's it. So once I started finding out more about rugby and everything else, I had opportunities to go to France and England and places to play professional rugby. I'm like, no, I want to play in one of those countries. That's where on my checklist. That was my goal sheet. And I don't want to take a step backward. Even financially, it was better money making the pound or the euro. New Zealand dollar. But I knew life's got to take its course, and it was never financial on my goal sheets that I ever did. So so those definitely helped.
Yeah, and I think that could play a big part. With people, a lot of people tied their desires with their finances. Like, oh, I'll do this because, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I think for the long run, if you want to have durability, like, you may need to find something that you love to do at the end of the day. That's what I'm doing right now. Like, I love podcasting, I love motivational speaking, but I am that guy on the computer doing troubleshooting, coding, different stuff like that for work, and that is like brain fry. I'm frying my brain doing that, so that's happening. So I think it's cool that you can do something with rugby, because back in the day when I was in like, let's say, trackside, I call it trackside in South Carolina where I'm from, Somerville, but we used to play backyard football. And when I was talking to you earlier, I was like, I'll wait until the interview. But backyard football reminds me of rugby. Because we played it in the same way. Like, you could do anything you could do in football, but there were more lateral passes, right? And you couldn't do any forward passing, which is illegal in rugby, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So with the lateral passing, it reminded me of what we used to do back in the day. Had I known about rugby, and half the people in my neighborhood or my school, I feel like a lot of us would have went to rugby instead of going to football. Football, it's overcrowded. Everybody's doing it. Everybody in my hometown was football. But if they had a rugby program, I could have shined, man. I could have shined, brother. So I missed my opportunity. But
man, that's what I'm trying to do now, is making sure that it's an option for kids, for boys and girls. Because I mean, at the end of the day, diversity, opportunities are completely comparable from boys to girls, men to women, up the grades. Same rules, same everything else. What I'm trying to do with foundation and everything else is making sure that there's opportunities and that we're getting into, if it's inner city programs or if it's people that don't really see themselves wearing all the pads and want to play football, and find the are calling or don't like the mentality of football that I know would have shined or would shine.
Or you kind of hold on. I missed that last part. You were breaking up some, and I was trying to catch up. But can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I had it kind of cut out, but I think we ended up catching some of it at the end of what you were saying. But to your point though, the foundation that you have, the Todd Clever Foundation, I love it because of what you're saying. Like there are people in the inner cities, there are people across the world, in America who have yet to discover rugby. I did not rugby. I think I heard guys talking about it somewhere, and I just was like, oh, rugby, that's crazy. That's not my sport, right? But I wish I took time like I did last night when I told you I watched the Eagles. I watched you guys, the U.S. Eagles. I watched you guys play. I watched the girls team play, and like you said, it's at the same pace, the same standard, the same rules. I think it's so powerful. Like there was this one girl, I don't know who she was. She was fast and she like a truck. And I said I would hate to be the person trying to tackle her. So what happens like with the tackling, football, they put their shoulder down and they plow through. People are like using their bodies as a human missile, but rugby is different. Can you talk about the difference between rugby and football and what you love about rugby that really, makes you want to invest all of your time into
it? I mean, firstly, rugby gave me so much, and I feel that it's a duty to give back to some athletes, for fans. One of the big reasons why is because it's come on and off. It's continuous play of you're playing both. It doesn't matter, what side of the ball you're competing, and of it. It's actually a lot safer than football. With American football, there isn't, you don't have to wrap like you mentioned. Weapon. With rugby, it's all about making sure that you're wrapping, you're tackling safely, and that's taught very early on as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a lot of stuff I heard when I was researching. Oh, my bad. Can you hear me? I think we have this like
the last thing, I would say that,
I'm sorry. I think we have a delay and it's cutting out. One second, Todd. Let me make sure with this live. Let's make sure we're getting out there. 1 second. Yes. Are you able to hear me?
I hear you fine. I know that there's a delay working along with it.
Yeah. Does your sorry folks, we're having a little conversation about the Wi-Fi internet. But does yours show your screen lagging at all, or is my screen lagging for you? It might be me. Is it me? Can you hear me, Todd? Folks, give us 1 second. We'll be back on. Todd, I can you're frozen now. But while we get this situated here, you in there? Are you good?
I can hear you.
Okay, I know this delay is like it's like the back in the day phones is like, can you hear me? Yeah, I can see that now. Yeah, can you see me now?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, yeah, this thing keeps cutting on and off. So I wanted to make sure because you're talking good stuff, man. I want to make sure people are hearing it, and but yeah, so with it just froze again. I'm sorry. You're there. You got to move sometimes so I can see. Make sure you're not. There you go. You're moving.
I'm bobbing. I'm not bobbing and weave. You can't hit me.
Go ahead, Maya. Maya's trying to do intervention. Is your phone on do not disturb?
Yeah, my phone's off.
Okay. Oh, I think it's. Hold on, man. I don't know what's going on over here. I hate the internet. All right, are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Let me see. My wife might have texted me to let me know if we're good on the internet. Because I would hate to be recording and then people miss out on what you're saying. I can hear you fine, but for him, there's a lot of digital distortion. That's what the Ryan says on there. Are you able to go on like a phone or what are you on right now?
On the computer, or yeah, on my computer with Wi-Fi at the hotel, which says it's good, but maybe not.
Yeah, it's acting kind of funny. It's okay now. I mean, right now you're good. Now I'm seeing you moving in full like action. So I don't know what you did different, but that's good. Okay, cool. So I'm sorry that was for the little spill, man. That's why I told you earlier, like the internet, all this stuff usually messes up, but we'll still keep it moving. So I wanted to jump back into I was talking about the girl from the USA team and how she was like a freight train, but and you mentioned earlier about how it's safer than playing football because of the styles and the way you guys are tackling. So it's more of a side bear hug, right? Instead of like a spear, right?
I mean, it's a contact sport, so I mean, you're going to have all sorts of collisions, but it's more controlled than I'd say American football.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I would like about that. I would like that too. There was like guys in football that I was like, man, these guys would probably be really good in rugby because they were hard to tackle. Like they were just like the dudes, like the fullbacks from the country who ate a lot of yam and steaks and stuff. Like them boys, like their legs were so huge that when you tried to tackle them, you would actually like slide down and fall to the ground. But there are a lot of people out there who could really benefit from your foundation. So I want to ask, like, so what is the process from going pro? Like, do you have to go to college and play, or do you go to different clubs? How do you go pro?
Yeah, I mean, to turn professional in rugby, there isn't one pathway, of like high school, college, then combine, and then go into it. There's a lot of different pathways to get into rugby. That's crossover athletes from other sports that come in. The inclusivity of rugby is quite amazing. So there's local teams everywhere in all the different cities across the country, and everyone plays in a competition. People get sought out all the time. People that are just athletically given. There's a lot of scouts that for Team USA, for Major League Rugby franchises that really give opportunities to people come in. So I mean, I know a lot of people that start playing rugby early 20s, mid 20s, and the national team, by the time they're 30 years old, which is pretty commendable. But I mean, if you were on a pathway, you start playing rugby young. We have age grade national teams, so like a U20. So you have high school Americans, then you have USA under 20s. You have collegiate All Americans, and then from there you have Major League Rugby. From Major League Rugby, you kind of get into the national team process. So there's all sorts of different levels that you can join in, but there's a lot of scouts and a lot of people are trying to find that next person to
next Todd
the
Clever
national team jersey.
They want to find the next Todd Clever. So I mean, like, so when is it too late? Like, how old is too late? Like, so if you're 30, 34, 35, is it just too late for you to try out rugby?
The thing, it's not too late to enjoy the sport. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, rugby, there's touch rugby, there's flag rugby, it's co-ed rugby, there's all sorts of different rugby going on. professional. I mean, once you're getting in your 30s, you're probably pushing it.
Yeah. All right. So I'll just stay home and try to get my body right. Before I go out there and get crushed. So Ryan Farmer, he actually played some arena football. He says, what were some of the challenges that presented themselves as a result of your commitment to the sport, and have you worked to overcome them? Family life, friends, etc. So, what were some of the challenges that presented themselves as a result of your commitment, and how did you work over them?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that kind of is, once you set yourself up of, wanting to be, an elite athlete, everything else kind of goes on the back burner. So, I mean, holidays, that's everything.
Yeah.
If you buy into it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
missing birthdays, weddings, funerals, celebrations of it, being around times. It's just one of those, things that you commit to the team, commit to your cause, and making sure
Yeah.
that you give your best self an opportunity to perform at the highest level.
That's what I'm talking about. And sometimes you got to take that risk. I know, like in the military, it was so difficult because you had to learn how to just be an island in a sense, and then you build your community around your island, with the other people that are with you, and then it's like life goes on for family, and like you come back and there's so many things that have happened. I want to ask before this, like, was there any instances in your career where you were battling with mental health, or like just struggling with self-confidence, or was it just a straight shot for you?
It was definitely not a straight shot. I mean,
Yeah.
whenever you're professional, over 10 years or 15 years, you're going to have some ups and downs.
Yeah.
Probably injury, is a very lonely road, real lonely space to be in. That's
Yeah.
when you really have to dig real deep and dig hard, to get yourself back there. So, kind of,
Yeah.
no shortcuts. You're by yourself, putting in the work,
Mm-hmm.
be on traveling, knowing that you're, taking some time away from
Mm-hmm.
that. So that's always, challenging.
Yeah.
And then, from the mental side of things, that, like I said, being dropped from teams before, getting traded or leaving,
Mm.
you really have to dig deep and
Yeah.
find, get back on top.
Yeah. And it's when I see players that have the injury, like whether it's in football or rugby or track, you see that player working out by themselves, basketball even. You see that player working out by themselves, like you're saying. They're in the gym, they're shooting, they're trying to get their knee right, they're trying to get their shoulder right, or whatever injury it is. But like you said, they have this like period of loneliness when they don't have the team. Maybe they have the trainers and stuff, and they feel like they're not contributing to the team, or they're missing out from what the team is doing. So, what is your advice to those people who are in sports right now, and they're just out on an injury and their mind is full of doubt? What would you say to them right now?
Um, really focused on board. So, sports psychologist, and that's one good thing, having someone to talk about, what they're going, takes them off their course of where they want to be. So, it's not the first time that someone's going through this. But again, like I said, it is tough because it is a lonely road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Miss it. So do everything with the medical staff, and the doctors and your trainers, to get back into it. But know
Yeah.
that you're still part of the team. You got to the team where they're at now, and you'll be joining them again. Take the right steps to that pathway.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't cut corners for sure. Because I know with my ankle, I did not allow my ankle to restore. I did not rehabilitate it. I didn't do the little exercises with the bands. Like I was like, no bands. Like I don't need those bands. And now I have this ankle pain because I did not take the time to listen to the docs that were like, hey, make sure you're stretching, make sure you get some therapy on your ankle, and make sure you're stretching it. And I did not do it, and now I'm suffering from it. So I agree. And even if it's not even if you're a pro athlete, maybe you're someone who works at a computer company, a tech company, or you're in sales and you're down, you're sick, you can't, you have to make a comeback. I think you need to still have that circle that surrounds you that gives you advice, sound advice, to keep you on track. So I wanted to say, like, you've reached like great heights in rugby, but what is one of the most proudest moments you have in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many highs,
Yeah.
from playing professional in New Zealand or South Africa, playing on the world stage at World Cups. But I think captaining the national team to a World Cup would probably be, the biggest, feather in the cap.
Yeah.
It was in New Zealand. It was, they're rugby mad, and just playing in front of packed out stadiums and leading the nation into battle, so to speak, was probably the biggest proudest moment through my career.
Yeah. I can imagine you get that role of leadership, and you're in the place, like we go back to 17 and you're like, yo, this is what I want to do, and here you are, team captain. They call you what, Captain America, right? So what did that do for your confidence? Did it increase your confidence? Did you, like, what was it like walking into that?
Yeah, yeah, that came as a surprise. There
Yeah.
was a change of coaches that happened right after the 2007 World Cup, and I was 24 years old going into it, and
Wow.
kind of had my head down. There's a lot of older guys, a lot more seasoned guys, and I just it was a philosophy on rugby, what the team is, where I see myself, and kind of just basically to what I represent the team, and where the captains are. And I was so surprised, and
Yeah.
from the former captains that I played under before, I said I'm nothing like that. I have long hair and I beat my own drum, and I have a short fuse. I had a long list of things. I was like, I don't think I'm the right guy for it. And he's like, don't change what you do.
Yeah.
Example, guys follow. You don't need to speak, or you don't need to do anything more other than lead of this, because the national
Yeah.
team and what you represent, and what you expect from others, a little bit what I was talking about before of what I expect from myself and others. That's what
Yeah.
this team sort of needs. And I took on at a young age, and it was a strange feeling. I mean, representing the team and doing the jersey presentation, being a
Yeah.
young guy, with grown men and families, and just a lot of professionalism inside of that. But it was a
Yeah.
huge honor, and I relished it, and
Yeah.
ended up captaining the team over 7 years, and over 53 test matches, which is a long time.
Jeez, I gotta clap for you right now, bro. I gotta clap for you right now. That's amazing. Like you couldn't have wrote it any better, I believe. Like it's like to see that, to hear that 7 games, like it takes a lot for people who are older than you to take, you as their leader for number one. Like in the military, I had a lot of guys, oh, who do you think you are? Blah, blah, blah. Like some people just really did not receive the fact that I was now someone over them in a sense, like as far as rank. So did you ever face that with, like, I'm not saying you got to call out names or anything, but was that something that you had to overcome in that process? I know it's usually like a handful, but was that something you had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's some guys that have been on the team and have a lot more experience than I did, you know, professionally and with the national team. And here comes a 24-year-old, you know, 25-year-old, you know, captaining and leading them in. You know, we have a jersey ceremony. So the night before a game, you know, the captain goes and speaks and hands out a jersey to each of the players that's going to take the field the next day. So that was, you know, my first time doing it. It was, you know, very daunting and very nerve-wracking, you know, standing up in front of not my peers, but guys that I looked up to before and guys that, you know, showed me the way. And but I would say most of them were fantastic. There actually was, you know, a couple guys, one guy in particular that never my eye whenever I, you know, gave him a jersey, which was interesting. It was, you know, and I could just kind of sense that sort of friction, and it was just kind of, you know, not a stern handshake, not a look in the eye, not a proud, and you know, it was just, from that is like, man, I don't know if I want to go into battle with that guy if he doesn't, you know, into the system, of everyone else, but you know. That's it. But other than that, it was received really well from public to, you know, most of the team and media. It's sort of, media can be tough because, you know, you play your best game, you're the king, but if the team loses, who are they going to point to? And, you know, as a captain, you know, you do make some tough calls of, you know, if you're going to, you know, go for the win or go for the tie or, you know, strategically, but it's there's been some good things, but luckily it was throughout the many years of service of captain, it was some greetings were well.
Yeah, that's good, man. There's always one, as they say in the Marine Corps. There's always one. But you know, like, and it's nothing on you that there's one. That's actually a good thing. It's telling you that you're in the right place, you're doing the right thing, and that people are looking. Oh, that's not me. Like, they want that, and it's not wrong for them to want it, but they have to understand, like, hey, some people deserve this at this very moment. It's a good thing for the team. It's the good thing for the fans. It's the good thing right now for us. And you know, I had to learn that in the military. I was never quick to be like, I want to be the leader. I was always like just following the leader. But when I got promoted, they were like, Simmons, people respect you, they like you, they listen to you. So, you know, that's that. I was like, I don't know everything. I'm not the guy that fixes everything. But they didn't want the guy who fixes everything. They wanted someone that people could respect and like. So, you know, with your personality, I can see that. But you said short fuse, but I know that goes with the territory. You know, you're playing a very aggressive sport. You know, you don't have the pads on, and you have to go for what, 80? Is it 80 minutes?
Yep.
See, I did my research. 80 minutes. And, you know, and with that, so tell me about this. So I was watching rugby, and they get into this huddle, this bridge like this, right? Everybody's like this. And then somebody's on the outside and they pass a ball inside. Can you explain what's happening in this point right here that I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's called a scrum. So, you know, each team has 8 forwards and 7 backs. So it's 8 versus 8, and they you know, the scrum in, and the scrum half puts the ball in. The hooker, you know, hooks it back to the team, and that's just a way to restart the game. So if there's a forward pass, forward lateral, or a ball dropped, or if a team opts to do a scrum to restart, that happens. So I mean, it happens, you know, between 10, 15 times a game.
Yeah, a lot. I saw it. I saw it. I was like, oh man. So is it like, so with football, it's like the, you know, the center has the ball and he hikes it to the quarterback. And that's kind of what I see when you guys are doing that. Is it that there's the offense? Is it like you could get the ball in there, or is it all whoever gets the ball at that point in time when you're going back and forth?
It's a contest, so either team could get it, but usually, you know, the offense, the person that's putting the ball in, will get the ball back. But there are, you know, if the other team on defense has a very strong pack, much bigger guys, or times outright, then it can be a turnover.
Yeah, because I saw one instance where the team that did not put the ball under got the ball, and like I'm talking about these, y'all are so quick. I'm like, it sounds like this is what y'all doing. Like that's sound effects that you would hear in a rugby match. And like I said, when I watched the women US team, like I was like, they're doing like the speed, like the guys and the girls they're going all in. Do you have a favorite like women's player, or do you watch the women's game at all?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the women's national team as much as the men's, and they're right now actually currently they're in New Zealand competing in the women's Rugby World Cup. So okay. So they're playing against Canada for in the quarterfinals. So it's so it's exciting. There's a lot of great females that are competing, but a fan of the whole team.
Yeah, that's cool. And did you ever make a transition into like coaching? I feel like I saw something out there. It was like either like ownership, part owner, coaching. Like, what was that all about? Can you tell us about that?
I haven't got into coaching too much, and I think it would have been a pretty easy transition. But I also know how hard it is to be a good coach and what it takes. I wanted to make sure that once I retired from playing, I wanted to learn the business side of things. So administrative, I helped set up a professional team, invested in it, was a co-owner of one of the Major League Rugby teams. From doing director of rugby to general manager work to ownership, being in the meetings, and then taking on a position in Los Angeles and being at the table of all the other professional teams. If it's the Dodgers, the Lakers, and the Clippers, and USC, all these sort of things. It's there's so much to learn, from rugby, and that's where I see myself of wanting to continue on that pathway with sports and professional elite sports, and learn from some of the established and trickle it down to the emerging sport of rugby. But with coaching, there's a lot of dedicated guys, and I know there's a lot of pressure that I don't know if I'd want to be a coach. For instance, just because it's you have
rolls downhill.
Exactly. 100%, and knowing a lot of coaches that are struggling, they're in cities that they didn't really plan on living in. And for me with California, there's so many professional sports or elite level sports. From what I've learned and what I've been doing the last few years, I could transition into any of those sort of roles. And that's just kind of me being sort of selfish and having the foundation with always having something to give back to rugby.
Yeah, that's good. And it's big. Like when I look at the fact that you've had those roles, those many roles, and you've played the game, and then you start a foundation. Like those are like three components when you build something, and you say, okay, well, I'll build something that could be involved, right? I'll build a machine. And then now I'm going to build the technician who could work on the machine. That's what you pretty much went and you did. You're like, okay, I'm going to understand each part and I'm going to work in these different roles. And now you're also on this side with the foundation of giving back to something that served you. What inspired you to do that? Was it just your love for rugby, or was that something that you always knew you would do?
As a player, as an athlete, I played rugby in 37 different countries around the world. And we usually go in, we train, we go see the stadium, we have one day off, maybe an afternoon off to get a coffee or to see what's happening in the community and play in the stadium and leave. And I just felt as though it was like, man, what a waste. I would have loved to, been emerging in that community and leaving something behind. If it's rugby boots or balls or jerseys or skills, pass on that. And it wasn't really much there. So that's where the vision of the foundation is like, man, if I'm somewhere in the world, why, I'd rather be in the community than be in my hotel or, have a coffee or, nice dinner. I'd rather, give back to that. So that's kind of, I always had that envision of having that, give back component. And once I retired, that's whenever, what was the mission statement? What is the vision? What does rugby need? And what is it commonly across the landscape of rugby? It doesn't matter if you're in America. It doesn't matter if you're in Asia or Africa or Europe. There's a lot of commonness with rugby. And that's where we kind of see our piece of the puzzle and help out those communities.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I'm all about community help. I definitely need to see how I can get involved in, like, just on the East Coast side with your foundation. Because like I said, there's kids out here in South Carolina, in North Carolina that are playing backyard football, and they have no idea that this could translate into rugby. And I'm talking about there's kids with so much skills and abilities who they may not make it in the football world. They may not make it over there because, a lot of sports are different. Like, especially where I grew up, like they had their specific family names. If your last name ended with this, you are blessed and you will have the you will have the go ahead. So I think there's a lot of people out there who don't get that opportunity, that rugby could be something that would not even just go pro, but to just change their perspective on the opportunities that are out there. So what could people do right now to get involved with the Todd Clever Foundation? And what are you looking for exactly? Are you looking for volunteers? Are you looking for helpers? Like, what is it that you're looking for?
Yeah, we're always looking for, doing events, sponsoring events, raising money to give back to the communities. I mean, this is 100% passion project. No one's on salary. There isn't any overhead. It's all about, making sure that we're passing on the core values of rugby to these communities and educating them. And that's passion, that's teamwork, enjoyment, respect, sportspersonship. So, along those lines, and that doesn't just happen within the lines of the rugby field. It helps them with school, helps them with job, helps them with family, building confidence. So, along those lines is huge. So we just, for instance, this last month has been busy for the foundation. I mean, I was in New York City. One day I was at the United Nations, with a meeting and talking about how rugby can help refugee camps and how it can help with, people crossing borders. And then the next day we were in the Bronx and we were in Brooklyn doing inner city camps with Play Rugby USA. And then last week I was in San Diego because there's a mayor summit with Mayor of San Diego and Tijuana, and how we can, how sport can really help, get rid of, the border and make us one, and make the people, not just, oh, you're Mexican or you're American or you're this place or this. It's like, no, those core values. So it speaks alongside of, many things. And we've done some events. We did one in LA where we raised money, and we were able to raise enough money to kit out six teams with jerseys. So these are brand new teams that never had rugby or never had jerseys or anything else. So we sponsored their whole league. So we sponsored their jersey, sponsored the balls, sponsored trophies and field space. So, and these boys and girls, it's complete, making sure that's the quality of it. And that is a huge, feedback and give back that it's about.
Yeah. So you're already doing what I'm thinking, like, oh man, it'd be great if they do that. You're already out there doing it. This brother been at the United Nations, he been in Brooklyn, he been in New York. Like, come on, man, like that's amazing. So like, how are you preparing yourself to run this foundation? Like, are you doing any like research and like running foundations? Or are you just letting other people do it and you just hit the ground and connect with the people? Like, how do you have it set up?
It's a small team, so the inbox gets pretty full, and unfortunately, like I said, this is a passion project, and through my executive director and board members, they want me to be full time. They want me to have this and make it a paid job. My whole thing is, I don't want this for the first 3 to 5 years. I want this to be a passion project, everything else. But we are growing fast. So if we're in a position to, hire somebody to do that, that would probably make a bigger footprint. Where we're at now of teaming up with other, rugby tournaments and making sure that, they are ticking those boxes, because a lot of times it's like, oh, we're doing this tournament and it's just focused for high school boys. And it's like, well, we can't be involved with that because we're the girls. Like, we want to make sure that they're involved. Okay. Where's the pathway to get to the high school? Can we start a youth camp for 12-year-olds with flags and making sure that they know the rules? And then that's going to be the fans. And then same thing, if it's a women's tournament, it's like, well, can we bring in men's, and can we bring in college to high school to make sure that there's a flowing pathway? Because it takes a lot to put on anything, if it's an event or tournament or anything else. But we definitely have structures that in place to educate them, and making sure that the allocated funds that it's raised, and we help with those grants. And we've given jersey grants, ball grants, scholarships to high performance, because anything that goes along with high performance, if it's soccer, baseball, volleyball, I mean, you have kids, it's sort of like how expensive it is. It's all pay to play. My whole thing is, how can we make sure that this isn't pay to play? This is giving everybody that opportunity.
Right. Come on, Todd. Todd for president. Todd Clever for president. Todd Clever, America. But it's amazing, bro. Like, even with the talk of like Mexico with the border, and just the plan that you have is you just like open up a whole box, because you have this big plan, an idea that I could see working out. And rugby is picking up. I think is it going to be in the U.S. in 2033 or something? Like, what's that?
Yeah, the Rugby World Cup is coming to America in 2031 for the men's, and 2033 for the women's.
Okay, it seems so far away, but I was when I heard that, I was like, hold on, 21, 22, I was 30, but yeah, man, that's amazing though, because with rugby being something that Americans were not really tapping into, and now it's picking up. I know a lot of guys in my high school, they were playing it, like I said, but it was nothing that our school formed together to create for the student athletes. So I see this big plan that you have, and I just want to tell you to keep on moving forward with it, because it's amazing. And if anybody wants to get involved, please make sure you reach out to Todd Clever. Ryan, I know you played arena football, but you can go ahead and see what Todd needs from you, my brother. But anybody, y'all see what Todd needs from you, and reach out to him for the Todd Clever Foundation. So we have a few more questions, and then we're going to let Todd go. It is now 8 o'clock, and I want to be respectful of his time. But just number one, congratulations. I can say it. Can I say it?
Oh, you can say it.
Okay. Congratulations on the baby. That's awesome.
We are extremely thrilled, and now we get to have fun with that. Maya is unbelievable. She's still working, she's crushing it, woman doing her thing, and baby's coming early in the new year, so we're getting ready. We're pumped for it.
Wow, that's awesome. I was so excited when I heard the news. You guys, I wanted to put the picture up here. The picture with you guys. She was in like the blue. Y'all was in like some beautiful place, and I was like, this is just too nice. This is so dope. Yeah, that's amazing, man. How did you and Maya meet?
I mean, I think there's a couple different stories. There's mine, and then there's hers, and then the truth. But no, we met we met through an app, and we chatted for a couple weeks, and then whenever we decided to have a first date, we're basically still on our first date. We're just having the best time, and it just never stopped. So
yeah. I see you curling her. I remember like last year or so, you was like curling her and like pressing her. I was like, this dude's a beast. Like, what is going on here?
Oh, that was a quarantine when all the gyms were closed. You know, had to get my
that was quarantine workout. That's awesome, man. So Ryan Farmer, and then first and foremost, what's up, Maya? How you doing? We hope that you're doing good out there, girl. But you don't have to tell her. I just, in the future or whatever. But so Ryan says, can you talk about being disciplined and perfecting your craft? Some can't commit to getting in the gym. Oh, Ryan must have missed what I was talking about earlier, let alone trying to be a professional athlete. But how can that mindset help in life? If you want to just go ahead and reiterate, I know some people might have missed that. But because we were talking about my bad habits as a person that pays the gym all my money. Go ahead,
Todd. Yeah. So my biggest thing is sort of making sure that you have short-term and long-term goals. Write those down, making actual boxes where you can check them off. So it is discipline. It is how bad it is, and there's always that struggle. There's always that person on your shoulder saying, "Hey, it's more comfortable on the couch watching TV." Right. Make all those excuses if it's cold outside, or you'll do it in 30 minutes. But your mental health, your physical health, everything will thank you. You'll sleep better. I mean, my biggest thing is making sure that I have a good night's sleep. Because that's how how do you get so active? How do you have all this? It's like it starts at that night. Make sure you sleep well, and go for that night. Go and win that day.
You sound like my wife, because she's like, you need to get some sleep. Don't stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Not saying she sound like that, but it's true, because I'm a night owl. Like I'll like my like I said, I get off at like 6:30. Then I do like podcast stuff, and now my brain's all like woof, 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 woof. And I guess, oh man, I just did this to myself, because I should go work out with all of that energy. Go.
There you go.
There you go. So I found my answer. Thanks, Coach Todd Clever over here. But so my last question that I love to ask people, and people, if you have questions, please post your questions. Brendan says congratulations. Ryan says congratulations on the baby. Thank you, guys. I said thank you, guys, but Todd says thank you as well. But so the question I love to ask people is, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a question I asked myself, my younger self earlier on, knowing, whenever you put yourself on a path of excellence and reaching high standards, you have to live by those and your decisions that you make and everything else. So I'm currently doing it, what I'm passionate about, when I have everything else. We have a son on the way. So, that's sort of that legacy. That's sort of, coming up without making sure that there's no pressure on him. My life, his life. So there is that balance. But you want to make sure that, for what I want is I want to make sure that people, know I'm a genuine person, that I expect a lot of myself, that I'm, honest and hardworking person that represented what I cared about at the best of my ability.
Yeah. Amen to that, brother. Like you're doing it. Like you're living the legacy. Like a lot of people are trying to get somewhere. You've had like 20, 24 years old. Like you've had that opportunity to experience, being like, oh man, like, like people in the NFL, they get out of high school, college, and like they go into that profession. Everyone else is, the 9-to-5 people. We're out here, 30 years old, like still trying to get to our Super Bowl, still trying to get to our World Cup. But it's still the beauty of being able to watch others. I know my last guest, Cornelius Kirk, talked about how he would watch hours and hours of football and look and say, man, these people are living their dreams. Let me get up and go do something about mine. So I want to leave that with you people out there. Like, hey, you can watch Todd Clever all day, but be sure to go out there and to live your purpose as well. So Todd, I give you the floor. Any closing words, any shout outs, anything you want to say right now, announcements, please go ahead. You have the floor.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And just to touch on what you were last saying is there's pathways for everything. And not everybody, wants to be a football player or a rugby player or anything else, but find your passion and you're not going to work a day in your life. You're going to live that passion, giving back, having a life of purpose and a life of service is so important. So if you don't have those two things, you got to ask yourself, what are you living for, and exactly. Making sure that you take care of that health, if it's mental, if it's physical. And again, thanks for having me. Thanks for, I love my shirt that you gave Maya and I. We wear
another one.
Yeah, always, man. Hey, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, brother. So just stand by real quick. I'm going to do some shout outs, and then when I close out, we'll say bye on the background, and then I'll let you go. Okay.
Cool.
All right, cool. So let me go ahead and do these announcements real quick, and then we will end this show. So I just want to say thank you, Todd Clever, for being on the Purpose Pod. And just I know you're all the way in Hawaii, like I was saying earlier, and I know life is happening around you right now. And for you to take the time to be on here, it means so much. So I just want to let you know that the Purpose Pod family is here for you, for shout outs, anything you need, promotions. We will put it out there so the world can see it. We are here at your service. So there you go. And I want to give another shout out to DJ Davi. Thank you once again for being on the ones and twos and rocking us with those rock and roll. I think he was playing some rock and roll. It wasn't no hip hop. He played rock and roll. Maybe Todd, I think he was thinking that you like rock and roll. He does that from time to time.
Whatever he was doing, I was liking it, man.
He was liking it.
I was jamming out.
Okay. So we got confirmation right there, DJ Davi. You did your thing. And then Cool People Network. Shout out to Cool People Network. They have an app. You can check out their app online right now. We're Cool People Network, right at 28. Shout out to Deshaun and Jazz Vincent. My barber, Nikki, keeps the fade right. The girl got the fade. I felt like a new man today. Nikki, thank you so much. And Michael Finkley, The Finkley Show. Remember, folks, never stop, never quit, repeat. Shout out to my boy Jamar Lanham Photography, for taking this dope, amazing pic. And our last guest, Cornelius Kirk, did his thing on the Purpose Pod. And like I said, this man right here, I think we should see you in the movie. I think about Aquaman. You give me the Aquaman vibe. Old brother, what's his name? I forgot his name, but the dude that played Aquaman, you give me the vibes of Aquaman. He's like this guy. But yeah, so I got this right here. So yeah, Todd Clever Foundation. Make sure you guys go check out the Todd Clever Foundation. If you have any questions, please hit up Todd Clever or his team. They will help you out. And so the inductee to the Hall of Fame, I didn't want to mess up how things went with that, because I saw inductee, Hall of Fame. What could you just say something about this real quick?
No, I mean, I was inducted last year, 2021, into USA Rugby Hall of Fame. So, we had a good time in Vegas at the gala. It was, it was a fun time.
That's big boy stuff right there. Y'all don't know nothing about that. I went to Vegas and lost some money, but I ain't gonna talk about that. All right, so we're back. So, and I just took this little screenshot right here because this is when you started, December 1st, 2020. I just think it's amazing when you're able to go back and see when you're starting. So, you mentioned this exciting news, just launched my foundation. So I just wanted to put that right there for you to remember, Todd, what you are doing this for, brother. And I just wanted to shout out. So I just won this award, this leadership, excellence in leadership award at UNC Charlotte. I just wanted to say, go Niners. Shout out to my family. For always doing big things, and shout out to the guy who broke into my car. We respect you and love you for just breaking my window. But anyway, so I had to put that in there. So shady, but yeah, man, Todd. So everybody, this has been the Purpose Pod with Todd Clever. Todd Clever, just hang out in the background real quick. I'm going to close out the show, and I will let you go. All right. All right. So this has been another episode of the Purpose Pod. I am your host, Mr. Never Stop, Never Quit, Repeat. Brendan, you put up your question too late, brother. You put up your question too late. Go ahead and DM Todd Clever. You put up your question too late. Sorry. But this has been your boy, Mr. Never Stop, Never Quit, Repeat himself, Alan Levi Simmons. Please make sure you subscribe to the Purpose Pod. Please make sure you check out the Todd Clever Foundation. Go follow Todd Clever and his wife, Maya Stolian Clever. And check out this last episode that I had with Cornelius Kirk. I love you guys. Be safe. Be purposeful. Peace.